You ain't gonna be Dame. Probably not CJ. So Melo is that person on a totem pole that take that heat. He don't deserve that.
I just don't think he has it anymore.
Melo's the role he didn't want in Oklahoma.
Carmelo Anthony drills it straight away.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Control the Narrative, episode 56 now. Lot going on in Blazer world. I'm finally back home in New York after being stuck in Houston for a week, the same city that fucking blackballed Melo, that kept Melo on the roster for months. I was kept in Houston. But anyway, Control the Narrative. We're a podcast that controls the narrative that the media creates. If you're new around here, subscribe to catch our weekly podcast all about Carmelo Anthony. And if you're a returner, if you're a subscriber, we appreciate your attention as always. Needed to get that in there. I'm going to bring on my guy Joe in a second to talk some Melo with me. Like I said, a lot's been going on. Some high highs and some low lows in Melo world, in Blazer world. So fuck it, let's bring Joe in right now. Joe, how's it going, bro?
Good. How you doing, bro? Thanks for having me on the show. I appreciate that.
Of course, man. I appreciate you taking some time out. We were just talking real quick off camera. I was like, yo, this should have happened a long time ago because I know you're always fucking tweeting, and I know you watch all the games and shit like that. So I appreciate you taking some time out, bro.
No question. No question. Anytime.
No doubt. All right. Well, yo, for people who don't know you, for people who don't follow you on Twitter, at Next Life Sports,
Yes, sir.
what can you say about your basketball fandom? Like, how'd you get into basketball? How'd you get into Melo specifically? And just like tell us about your fandom.
Well, basketball in general, I play basketball all throughout my life. I started, in grade school from Chicago, Illinois. So, it's a big basketball city, you know what I'm saying? I played in high school and then went on to college. I played for 4 years and got the opportunity and the blessing of playing in Europe for about 10 years.
Dope.
So from there, man, it's been growing and, I fell in love with NBA, obviously. I had my shot to go, but it didn't work out. But I've always been a fan of the game, specifically Melo. I was a fan of Shaquille O'Neal for the longest time, right? And then once Shaq retired, I think it was 2011 with Boston, I was a fan of Melo in the background. But once Shaq retired, I transitioned to Melo. So
that's perfect timing.
Right, So from that time on, I've been a Melo fan, man. I just think this guy is one of the top 5 scorers that the game has ever seen. Hands down.
Yeah.
Hands down.
A couple questions for you. Where'd you play in Europe?
I started out in New Zealand, and then from New Zealand, I went on to France, Portugal, Denmark, England, and Mexico and Canada. Same with you.
Wow. What is it? Yo, shed some light on that because we don't really have many former professional basketball players coming on here. So what is it like playing overseas? Like, what is, instead of just like the general shit, like give us something that people wouldn't think about that is really impactful one way or another in playing in Europe and overseas and shit.
You know what, man? For me, man, I found that the people, like for Americans, import players from the States over there, they really embrace us, man. Like they know, obviously we ain't from around their part of the woods, but when they know we play for their city or their little village, they embrace us and they love us, man. They show us mad love out there. And my experience, man, I really enjoyed. And I was blessed to get that opportunity to play in such great countries and being with these people. You know what I'm saying? It was really a beautiful experience.
That's dope because, for me, I played basketball like in an outside league in high school and shit like that. We would go to other towns around me, so it's interesting to hear fucking people going across the fucking world.
Man, it was beautiful, man. It was beautiful.
That's dope. All right. Also, you said you started getting into Melo in like 2011. I said perfect timing because that was right when either he got traded to the Knicks or he was on the Knicks for a few months, whatever the fuck the case was, whatever it was. When he got traded, were you a Knicks fan already? Or like you said, you were a Shaq fan. So did you just follow players or like, what was that like?
I started to follow. I always knew of Melo, but once Shaq retired, I transitioned to Melo and started following him. Especially when he got traded from the Nuggets to the Knicks, that was like a big thing at that particular time. You know what I'm saying? And I just really started to fall in love with Melo and the Knicks in general, and just follow like every other game as much as I could. That was a big moment in basketball. You know what I'm saying? That particular time.
What about his game? You know,
man, for me, it was obviously the offensive end. You think about Melo scoring the buckets. It was just so smooth, so effortless when he has the ball. You know what I'm saying? He demands double teams. You know, and other teams have to adjust to that. So for me, because when I played, they always say I was like smooth, like Rasheed Wallace or Lamar Odom, and I had a shot. And so Melo being a scorer like he was, I'm like, okay, this guy, I can vibe with him a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Because his offensive game is second to none almost.
I like that, yeah. And, you know, still double teams in year 18. In 2021, he got drafted in 2003. So crazy to think about.
Let me ask you a question, Steve. Like you said, you was in Houston for Melo's on the road against Houston. How was that for you?
It fucking sucked. It fucking sucked. Like, honestly, I was looking up different cities and I was thinking about road tripping down there. And I was just like, fuck it, let me get on a flight. Nobody wanted to come with me. I ended up meeting up with someone there for a few days, which is cool. But the game itself, it was a terrible game. Just from the jump, Melo did not seem in it. And the Blazers were competing. And Melo just didn't have it. 3 for 15. It was tough. Every shot, like someone I was with took a video of me, and Melo shot a 3. I put my hand up, my arms up, like let's go, and then he missed. And every fucking shot he was missing. It was rough, and there were some Blazer fans there, which was pretty dope. But at the end of the day, just like being in that environment, being at a sporting event for the first time for me in like 10, 11 months was kind of surreal because obviously of everything that fucking happened. So it was cool. I don't know where you're at right now and if they're allowing fans in, but New York.
Right now I'm in Kansas, and where I coach at, they started to let fans in, like four fans per player, but it's nothing.
No public.
Right, exactly. So it's still kind of crazy right now. Yeah,
it's I don't know if you could take a drive to Houston or like I know Memphis is doing it too, but
are they? I know that.
I think Memphis. Maybe I just made that up. But like it's crazy. It's a surreal experience. I don't know if you've been to a ton of games. If like you do that, because some people don't really like going to the games and shit. But it was wild, man. It was wild.
Yeah.
So
I just think with Melo, man, he's a rhythm player. He has to be in a game and feel the flow and get his rhythm to be productive, And I don't. Sometimes I feel like Stotts don't put him in the right positions all the time to score. We know he can ISO score all the time, occasionally get good opportunities, but it's more to his game than that, I think.
Yeah. All right, let's get into it. So let's go with the first question here is, obviously we talk about this every week. There's been a bunch of injuries. The Blazers are trying to stay healthy, just stay afloat really till all these guys come back. I want to know your opinion on Melo's involvement in the offense with all these injuries. We saw, for example, a game in Philly where he was one of the main guys.
Exactly.
22, 5 assists. They beat the best team in the East. They didn't have Ben Simmons. The Blazers didn't have Dame, CJ. Like I don't want to hear that shit. So what are your thoughts on Melo's involvement in the offense? Do you think he's being involved enough and he's just not producing? Do you think they're not putting him in the right spots, like you just said? Just talk about that.
Like that was a good game to gauge that whole situation you spoke of. Like, for example, like you said, we didn't have Dame. Obviously, we didn't have CJ, and Nurk is out. And they didn't have Daystar. They didn't have Ben, what have you. They still had Embiid in the middle. But Melo started, productive, efficient, right? It goes to show if you put him in the right position at the right time with one of the best teams in the East, a top team in the East.
The best team, yeah.
Right. He can produce. You got to put him in the right position, the right spots, man, for him to do his thing. Melo is an 18-year vet. He knows, the ins and outs of, the game and certain teams. He knows how to be crafty. You know what I'm saying? So you got to put him in the right spots. I just think Terry Stotts, up and down on him. He pisses me off sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, Bubba Melo was the bomb, right?
Amazing.
Wasn't he? And then it's just like, I know this new role come off the bench. It's said through the preseason, this is what he's going to do. And I understand that. But at the same time, like we got to have injury. We have Nurk. We have CJ. Melo can be the second option on this team with him and Dame starting now, right? Because, we've seen with Derrick Jones Jr. and Robert Covington, they ain't shooting the best from the field. That they are struggling, to say the least.
Yeah.
Right. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, give us some. Give me some here.
So do you think it's literally just as simple as starting him?
You know what? I keep saying that, thinking to myself about this. You can start either Covington or DJ, one of those two, and then start Melo too.
Right.
I mean, and bring one more off the bench, either Covington or DJ. My preference, start Covington and bring DJ off the bench. How you feel about that?
I like it. I think Covington obviously brings more offensively, even though he's been struggling like hell this year.
Yes.
But he's been picking it up recently.
Yeah.
But man, I feel like the same thing. It's like when I heard that CJ was out, Nurk was out. Obviously, you don't fucking wish for those things, but in the back of my mind, I'd be lying if I didn't say, "Damn, this is going to be a good opportunity for Melo to get more involved and all this shit." And just it hasn't come about, and like we saw it in Philly, Gary Trent Jr. led the team in points. I think he had 24 points on 24 shots, and Melo, I think he was like 8 of 14, 22 points, 5 assists. Like it's crazy frustrating, and we'll get into like the highs and lows in a minute, but it's just crazy frustrating because he can be that guy. We're not talking about 2011 Melo, like we saw it against the best team in the East, and for the coach not to see that and be like, yo, we balled this game, and like of course a couple other players had good games too. It wasn't just fucking Melo who beat Joel Embiid, but like to see that and then go back to, nah, you're gonna come off the bench and
exactly the next game after that, right?
Literally the next game. And I don't want to get into the highs and lows now, but it's frustrating because you see what he can still do. Again, we're not talking about Melo from 10 years ago, 5 years ago. We're talking about Melo right now. He just did it. And for the coaches, really, the front office, all of them to not see that and not think, okay, this will help us win ball games while all of these offensive guys are out. I feel like we're saying the same thing every week. I just don't know what else to say.
So what do you think it is though? Like, why do you think this season it continues to happen where he have a good game? Chicago, he had 22 points. I think he had. Philly 24, but then the next game they play him 18 minutes and he don't do as much. You know what I'm saying? What's the reason behind that, you think?
I don't know. All right, fuck it. Let's get into it. The roller coaster season. I was gonna tee this up, but you. Oh, my bad. You're good. We'll get into it now. So, like you just said, it's been mad high highs and mad low lows. Versus Philly, in Philly, they win without Dame. Melo puts up 22 and 5. The next game in MSG needs 13 points to go to 12th all time on the scoring list and gets 2. And played, I think, like fucking 16 minutes or some shit.
Yep, 18 minutes.
18 minutes. So why do I think that is? I feel like what we're watching is the coaches putting Melo out there. And if he gets hot or if he shows that like he's feeling it, if he's in a rhythm that night, they keep going to him and they let him run the offense more. But if he's not, it's such a quick trigger. It's such a quick hook. And I don't understand it because we all know, you would hope the coach knows that like he's a guy who needs a few shots to get into rhythm. He's a guy that needs to feel the ball. I tweeted out a video maybe like a week ago. I think it was a game it wasn't Detroit. I don't remember where they were playing, but Melo was not getting, actually it might have been Detroit. It wasn't, Melo wasn't getting a lot of minutes. And when he got in the game, he literally like was like grabbing the ball like this as he was inbounding the ball. And I just thought it was so telling that,
getting that feel.
Yeah, to get that feel. And it was just, and you don't know, like people don't know unless you play basketball, especially if you're a shooter, like the way the ball feels and shit like that. So I thought it was so telling. Yeah. It was so telling to, see that. And I think at the end of the day, that's it. It's like, if he doesn't hit his first 3 shots, or if he doesn't go 3 for 5 or 4 of 7 in the first half, it's like they don't even look his way. which is frustrating because you see a guy like Simons and a guy like Gary Trent. I like Gary Trent a lot, but
too.
I think he shot like fucking 9 of 24, and
Exactly.
nobody says anything. But
Right.
God forbid Melo says shoots 9 of 24.
Hell gonna break loose.
Right? So I don't know.
Right.
It's the coaches having a quick hook on one of the best scorers of all time, which to me doesn't make sense.
Do you think he's feeling pressure from upstairs though, like from the management about that quick hook for Melo? The coach, thoughts? Because I don't know, you know, for him to have a quick hook with Melo, knowing what he's done in the past, knowing what he can do, just give him a minute, just you know what I'm saying, get his rhythm going. But why the quick hook? We got injuries to our main players, right? I don't understand why he feels that way.
I don't get that. That's my observation of it. Do you agree? You see like the quick hook too, or you think it's
facts, 100%. Do you think Melo feels that too? Obviously he does, all right.
He has to. Like, he'll never say it. He'll never say it. He's always like a team guy, but he has to. Like, there's no way he goes out there and like he plays 16. What'd you say? It was 18 minutes at MSG. 18 minutes at MSG. Like, if you're the coach, what the fuck do you have to lose? Like, who's getting minutes over him? And especially like, come on, he's at MSG.
Exactly. That's my thing, right? You just said it. He played here for 8-9 seasons. You got to let him get his groove on. You have to. He's at the Garden where he dropped 62 points at the Bobcats.
62.
Right, gets the Bobcats. Come on, you gotta give him a minute to get his groove on out here.
Yo, and you know what's crazy about that? Well, not crazy, but I remember I was watching the game and Melo was set to check in the first quarter with like 5.5 minutes left, and the game just went like 3 minutes straight with no out of bounds, no fouls or anything, just like made basket or like missed, and they would go the other way. And I was like, yo, come on, like Melo's sitting at the scorer's table for like 3 fucking minutes, which was wild. But yeah,
he had 52 points.
No. The game. Sorry, the game the other day when Blaze was.
Okay, yeah.
And he was like waiting to get in from like 5.5 minutes in the first to like 2.5.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh, that's why he didn't play well. But yeah, you would think he would be given more of an opportunity in his home.
Yeah. You know what, too? Also, I think, obviously with the Blazers, our defense is not where it needs to be right now. It's not. And that's one of our main issues at the moment, especially with having Nurk, obviously. That hurts us because he's a big part of what we do on defense. I don't know. Again, I just think about it's coaching adjustments and putting the right people in the right spots at the right time to do damage, to work it out.
Yeah.
And it's killing us right now because you think about it, we can't have this come second half of the season trying to make that playoff push to whatever position we want to get into. We have to have that situated already ironed out.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we gotta fix that.
Yeah, and right now, if we look at the standings, the Blazers are 7th, 12-10, tied with the Nuggets. They're half a game up on the Warriors and Kings, 1 game up on the Rockets and Grizzlies. So really like 1 game out of the 11th seed. But then at the same time, they're 1 game out of the 4th seed. So obviously, it's still very early. But yeah, you got to start thinking of that shit. Like, stay afloat until these guys get back.
And you think about this, like, the Nuggets gonna make a run.
Of course.
On the standings. You know that. And Golden State gonna make some kind of run as well with Steph and Draymond and all those guys, you know what I'm saying? But us on the other hand, we don't know when CJ's coming back. We don't know when he's coming back on Nurk for the most part, like a pinpoint date. Yeah. So we have to kind of jockey ourselves and get our stuff right to be able to climb that the charts in the division. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So, man.
We'll see what happens, man. We'll see what happens. It's just, they're never going to be a team that locks people down.
True story.
Because of the coach. Like I say every week, I feel like they have the guys defensively. The guys that they have aren't slow. I don't know if it's the schemes. Sometimes it's the energy. Quick shout out to CJ Ellaby, the rookie who came out and, like, brought the energy.
Did he? Did he? He actually did.
Brought the energy and, like, I swear I feel like it picked the whole team up just like they're just going through the motions sometimes. So I don't know what it is, but you know,
Harry Giles.
bro, I can't even tell you how disappointed I am in him. I was so again not hyped. Yo, when Nurk went down, I was like, you know, Harry Giles, let's see what happens. Because in the preseason, he had that one game where he had that one game, but still, like he looked fucking good. I collect cards and shit like that, so I picked up a couple of his rookie cards. I'm like, bro, this is gonna be his chance. Has not worked out. I'm mad disappointed in him so far. Yeah. We'll see what happens, but Another thing that I want to talk about that it's been like a big thing on Twitter the past week or two. I don't know if you've seen it, but a lot of Blazer fans, I'm not going to mention the website, but like Blazer websites are like turning on Melo.
Oh, man. I know what you're talking about. I know what you mean.
Yeah, and I'm not going to give them any clout.
Yeah,
not even bothering with that. But
no
there's a lot of hate and a lot of criticism coming for Melo, who, again, is coming off the bench. You know, like, not that they're, you know, single-handedly blaming Melo for these losses, but they're saying Melo is one of the biggest issues when he's coming off the bench. And this team has always been – it's always struggled on defense. It's not like offense is what struggle. Anyway.
Facts.
Straight up, do Blazer fans deserve Melo? Because you know, it's a guy, again, who took a back seat when he got here. When he got to Portland, took another back seat coming off the bench, is trying to make it work. He obviously has his good games and his not so good games, but you know, he's trying to make it work. So what do you think of Blazer fans kind of coming at Melo like that?
It's almost like a love-hate relationship with the Blazer fans this season, especially. I don't know, Steve. I don't think it's warranted because, like you said, he's a bench player. You know, he's come off the bench. But I think because his name, what he has done beforehand, all his accomplishments, his status, we have to blame somebody. It ain't gonna be Dame. Probably not CJ. So Melo is that person on a totem pole that take that heat. He don't deserve that. He's like you say, he's a bench player. You know what I'm saying? There's no way he deserved that criticism and all that hate that they trying to give it to him. You know what I'm saying? It's not even warranted, and it irks me because I see it every night after a game. I go to my Twitter feeds and all the hate and all. Bitch Melo, he's one of the ISOs. He don't play defense. All the other bullshit. It irks me because it bothers me. What do you think about that?
It's fucking annoying, and I want to give a shout out to Pinwheel Empire. They're a Blazers page, Blazers website, and they're always showing Melo love. You know, we're always interacting with them on Twitter, and they're always they have Melo's back. So they're one of the good people. So shout out Pinwheel Empire for having Melo's back and not, again, running with these fucking narratives. But another thing I wanted to talk about is Melo's defense. You mentioned it. He's been a solid defender. Like, the craziest thing is when he doesn't have a great game offensively, people are like, all right, well, if he's not scoring, get him out of the game. Like, he plays well on defense. God forbid, you know, Robert Covington, he's a decent defender. But like, if Covington goes 1 for 10 and Melo goes like 3 for 9, it's like, oh, get Melo the fuck out, when his defense is decent. Like, people acting like he's a fucking revolving door, which is not the case. But as far as these Blazer fans go, man, I think it's frustrating. Again, don't want to like give people clout for all the people hating on Melo and saying all that stupid shit. But
exactly, man,
it's just wild because you said it. He's a fucking bench player. He's a first-round Hall of Famer. He still can ball. He put up 22 and 5 against the best team in the East. 21 points the game before. I think it was against the Wizards. And it's just wild how he's the guy who's always taken the blame.
Exactly.
Portland to Houston to New York, and he's never opened his mouth. And never opened his mouth and said, fuck this. Why you blame? He's just always rolled.
I always took the high road. And I want to touch on you said that his defense. Look, I think Melo in year 18, man, like I said earlier in the show, he knows the spots to pick to be that defensive guy. Yeah, we all know he ain't a top defender, but he's solid. Like you say, he's solid. He knows what to do in the right situations to get the job done. You know what I'm saying? I mean, year in and year out, he's solid. He ain't the best, but he's solid.
Right.
I want to say that about Melo.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's the fucking narrative of, oh, Melo sucks on defense.
Right.
He's never sucked. He's never sucked.
No, he's never
a lockdown defender, but we're not saying he is. We're just saying he doesn't suck on defense.
No, not at all.
It's and to be honest, like the Blazer fans showed Melo so much love when he first got there. All last year, they were showing Melo love all year. And when there's a little turbulence, when there's a little
that's the thing.
When there's a little trouble, it's like
that's the thing.
Play Melo.
Even in the bubble, they loved him. In the bubble, they loved him. They loved him in the bubble.
Yep.
The new season come around and he ain't playing the best. Come off the bench. Melo need to take out the game. Melo's this. Melo's that. It's all about Melo.
It's all about the scapegoat. Like that's why we dropped that shirt and that hat. Shout out Weird Dog for collabing with us on that. But it's just so true because everywhere he's gone, he's always the issue. So anyway.
Everywhere.
Another thing I want to touch on is I don't know if you saw this, but you remember the Melo apology form?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I don't know if you saw this, but yesterday was the Super Bowl. We're recording this on Monday, the 8th. Right. Yesterday was the Super Bowl. A lot of people were talking shit about Tom Brady, not like last night, but over the last year or whatever, saying he's washed, whatever the fuck the case is. I'm not a huge football fan. So a lot of people were talking about Tom Brady, and he just won his, I think, seventh Super Bowl, which is fucking wild. But the reason I bring that up on Control the Narrative, a basketball podcast, is because ESPN NFL or NFL on ESPN, one or the other, I don't even know what the fuck they're called, made a Tom Brady apology form.
Oh, no shit.
And it is literally the Carmelo Anthony apology form, just with Brady's face on it and football shit instead of basketball.
Yeah.
No shout out to Control the Narrative. And the funniest thing about it was they put the ESPN watermark in the top right, like it was their idea.
Oh wow!
So I thought that was funny, and the reason I bring it up is because, I'm kind of, it's not even a pat on my own back, but Control the Narrative and what we've created here.
Yes,
just fucking wild because it was all for a dude who was blackballed at the time.
Exactly.
And
you know what though? I'm gonna cut you off. I've seen like on other podcasts and shows where they bring you up. Oh yeah, we want to control the narrative because from your show because they hate about Melo and they want to. You know what I'm saying? I see that all the time on the podcast. I
didn't even know that.
Yeah, I see it a lot these days. Yeah. So you're doing something right, man. Keep it up, bro.
I appreciate that, bro. I appreciate that, bro. I promise this isn't like a like a bragging thing, but I'm bringing this up because that validated Control and a lot of the things we were doing. And that wasn't the first apology form that somebody did, but the fact that ESPN saw this and was like, yo, they posted it after the Super Bowl, one of the biggest sports days, obviously, in the fucking year. And they were like, this is the piece of content we're going to post. Validates what we're doing. And the thing about it that I thought was funny is ESPN is the one who creates the narratives. Like they're the big name media. Right. We're the little guys who, try to fight the narratives that all these ESPN, Bleacher Report, all these people put out there. So for ESPN to be like, oh, you called Tom Brady washed, like you got to apologize. I guarantee you, if we looked back, you can find plenty of videos of people on ESPN talking about how Brady was washed. So I think that was funny. Where I'm going with this is, what do you think? What are your thoughts on the Melo community? Not even just the Control one, but just the community and how everyone really has this dude's back when so many are against him every fucking day. Like they're waiting for him to have a bad day. So like, what do you think, being a Shaq fan and then becoming a Melo fan and seeing all this? Like,
if you look at Melo's body of work, you're talking like 18 seasons, man. And like, he's done so much for the game. You know what I'm saying? On and off the floor, like things that we don't know that he's done off the floor in the communities, giving back. You know what I'm saying? And he's top 12 in scoring all time. That's big time. And study moving up. So many of us fans appreciate his greatness when it comes to that and what he's done thus far.
Yep.
And I think that says a lot to him as a player. And, but so many people who love him, you're always gonna find somebody who hate him or don't like him. You know what I'm saying? So I just think that speaks to his greatness. So where he's going, what he's done thus far, moving forward. You know what I'm saying? How you feel about that? What do you think?
Man, I just think like he's somebody who obviously his whole career has been overshadowed by a guy who was drafted first overall and Dwayne Wade, who won 3 championships, and Chris Bosh, who won 2 championships. And it feels good for me as a lifelong fan to see this dude finally get praise and literally like have this community around him that if somebody says some shit, like all I have to do is retweet something. Someone else has to do is retweet and tag Control the Narrative.
Right.
And it's like a fucking army. Like people say it's like the Melo militia, the Melo army, whatever the fuck you want to call it. It's just cool that this dude who's going to finish a top 10 score at least all time,
right?
Is getting respect, and he hasn't for a while, and he never goes out looking for it. And I think that once he gets top 10 officially, and I actually calculated it out. He's averaging 12 points per game, so he needs 600 something, I believe. Maybe I'm making that up, but it'll take him 50 point something games to get that, and I think they have 52 games left.
Right.
So it's going to come down to the wire for him to get top 10 this season. But it's just cool either way, and I think that's going to really open a lot of people's eyes when he gets that, and people are like, holy shit, he's in the top 10 scores of all time. I think that's when people are really going to open their eyes. But either way, man, I think the community is fucking dope, and it's allowed me to meet people like you and all these people have come on the podcast over the fucking past not almost 2 years, like a year and a half. And it's just cool, man. It's just cool, especially when you feel alone, when you're like, damn, Melo's my favorite player, and people are saying all this shit, and you meet other people like, no, I'm on your side. And
exactly, man. You know what I think too? I think by Melo having that year off, when Houston released him, I think that obviously, I think for me, I think it humbled him a little bit. Like he had to really sit back, think about his career up to that point and where it's going after that point. And I think that when he had that year off, it made him a better player, like coming into the next situation. You know what I'm saying?
Mindset.
It did.
Mindset?
Yeah, mindset. Exactly. Right. Yeah. I think it really did.
That's fair. Yeah. I agree, man. All right, yo. Well, we reached the end of this podcast, and before we hop off, we always need our guests to control a narrative. Doesn't have to be Melo related, doesn't have to be basketball related, doesn't have to be sports related, but I'm going to give you your time, and Joe, control a narrative.
Well, for me, man, I'm gonna speak about Carmelo Anthony, man. I just want everybody out there to know, like, one of the narratives out there about Melo about how he was a locker room cancer everywhere he has been. He's not. He don't pass the ball. He's all ISO, things of that nature. But as we see, everybody speaks highly of him. Every player he played with speaks highly of him, and how great he is in the locker room, how great a teammate he is, so forth and so on. So that narrative of him not being a locker room cancer, get rid of that. He's not. He's Melo, one of the top 5 scorers, in an association that we ever seen. And I want everybody to remember that when you watch Melo play on the basketball floor.
Respect, even in year 18.
Even in year 18 and 19. He'll be back next year too.
Respect.
Facts.
All right, Joe. Yo, why don't you, for those listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, tell everybody where to hit you on Twitter, Instagram, wherever you're at. So
Yes, sir. Hit me on Twitter at Next Light Sports Hoops. I'm on Facebook at the same handle, Next Light Sports Hoops. And hit me up anytime. I'm also a coach at Shawnee Mission High School. That's Shawnee Mission North High School in Shawnee, Kansas.
Respect.
Go out there, support us. We're doing big things this season. I appreciate that. And to you, Steve, again, man, I really, really appreciate you blessing me with this podcast and me having your show.
Absolutely, bro. Anytime, man. And for those watching on YouTube, go to the description down below. We have all of Joe's links and shit like that. Joe, is the season ongoing right now, or is it coming up?
We're still playing right now. We 4-4. We have a game on tomorrow night against school. So, man, thank you again for helping me, man, and appreciate it, man. Big respect.
Of course, bro. Good luck rest of the season, and appreciate your time, homie.
You too. Talk soon.